Hi, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of the Wealth Cafe. And today is one of my personal favorites. We are talking about how to financially plan, budget, plan for all of the things when it comes to taking big trips. Now, when we talk big trips, in my mind, and I'm just going to preface this for our conversation today, I'm talking more in the sense of probably upwards of $10,000. And especially in today's economy, if you have a family of four or if you are taking an international trip, this has become pretty easy to do, unfortunately. The reality of it, especially when you have multiple people going, is that the cost of these trips has grown significantly. Now, granted, things will vary depending on how you like to travel, where you are traveling to, and we'll unpack a lot of this later in the episode. But this is personal to me because I adore traveling. It is a big reason a lot of people I know follow me over on social media. And it is something that I have spent a lot of time in my life personally planning for because there's the financial commitment for it, there's the time commitment of it, and there's also the way you have to talk about it with other people. And so I want to unpack a lot of that today. And there are some people who are turning into this episode and they tune into this and they say, "How could anyone spend this much money on travel?" And that is okay. I want us to start by having this conversation with we all have things in our life where we should be, and I encourage this openly, is we have those areas in our lives where we spend freely and passionately. And for me, it's travel. I love to travel. I love to have experiences, to see new cultures and new places, and to really get deep in the roots of where I am. That is so important to me. And there are things that in this world that I don't enjoy spending on, and that just it doesn't bring me joy. One of those I always joke about is cars, right? I know nothing about them. I love that my car gets me from point A to point B, but I'm not the person that understands engines. I'm not, that doesn't make sense in my mind. And so for me, this is one of my areas of big passion and thrill. And so my most recent trip, I went to Morocco. I closed my office, my financial planning practice. We are closed every year between Christmas and New Year's. I'm off, my staff is off. My clients know I talk to them frequently about this. We are closed between Christmas and New Year's, and I go away, and it's fun. They ask me, they're like, "All right, where are you going this year? What's the big trip? What are you going to be doing?" And then I also like to go away at some point in the middle of the year. So, upcoming, I'm going to be taking some time. I will be in Europe, and I love to get away. I love the reset. I love to explore and be in a new place. And I always find that when I go away and I take this time away, I always come back a better person. This is not me, trying to sell you on travel, but if this is something that is important to you, I get so many questions from people in DMs on Instagram or people following me on LinkedIn, and they say, "I followed you because I wanted to know how you were in all these places and I wasn't. How do I do this too?" And so we are going to unpack a lot of that here today. And so when I was in Morocco, it was a big deal for me to really spend time and make some and set aside some budget this trip around to bring back and curate a couple pieces that I wanted to have in my home. So this was actually a new budget that I was kind of adding in on my trip, and I said to myself, if you know anything about Morocco or have followed a lot of their culture and how the tourist, economy has really grown there. What's amazing is so many of the places there you can now go in and take tours of where they make rugs, where they do leathers. And the one that really stuck out to me was we got to go in and it was a beautiful experience. And you got to watch the entire process of them making hand painted tile and artwork pieces. And I love to host and entertain. It's another thing that's very important to me, and having everyone around and cooking and all the joy and excitement that comes with that. And so I bought a piece that was this like beautiful bowl that is hand painted, and you got to meet the artist that was making it and learn the history and everything behind, what they used to make the colors in the paints, like the natural fruits and everything that goes into it, their process, the way that the artists, design goes into everything. And it was so cool and meaningful, right? Could I have bought the same bowl in Home Goods? Probably something similar, right, in today's mass-produced world, but this is so meaningful to me and is a piece that symbolizes something from my trip. And so this is something I recently added into budgeting. And for my upcoming trip to Europe, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, you know what? I'm going to be spending some time in Italy. And as part of my love of cooking, I really want to set aside and get some beautiful olive oil bottles. Hopefully, it's like one olive oil and one balsamic is something that I really have my eye on. So that is something I am baking into my budget going into it. Okay, yes, these are great things to think about, but there are so many other pieces that also goes into this. And my dog agrees, in case you can hear him barking in the background. I apologize. He probably hears me talking about another trip and knows that I'm talking about leaving him and is like, well, what are you bringing back for me? Also something that you have to factor into any of your financial planning for these trips. And I want us to start too in this conversation is, taking a lot of these trips, there can be a lot of guilt and shame that comes around taking them. And that's why I shared with you a few minutes ago that I know when I leave and I take this time away, I come back recharged. I come back better. I come back excited and refreshed. And yes, it means taking time away from my financial planning practice. It means that I have to do a lot of work in these coming weeks to prepare to be and step away during that time. It means packing. It means the financial prep that's gone over the last several months to prepare for the trip. It means the itineraries, the conversations, all those little details. But what I hold on to is those moments while you're there that are so incredible. And that feeling when I come back that I know is just, it's one of those things that to me, I always talk so much about, okay, this is, these are the moments, right? And I also, when I look at this from the financial perspective, is it can be hard mentally, right? To sit here and say, oh my goodness, I should be investing this money, I should be scrolling it away and having that scarcity mindset. And the really important check-in to have with yourself and the moments that I try to have, and it's two parts really that I want to break down. And to remind yourself, number one, and hopefully you are doing this, and if not, talk to your financial team about this. Number one, are you already investing and saving, right? So when I'm on this trip, I sit there and I know, and I have that relaxation moment because I sit there and I say, no, you've already done your investing and your saving moments. You've planned for this financially. You are in here in this moment because you planned for this. You've done your saving, you've done your investing, you've done the pieces you wanted to put into place. And this is now a result of all that hard work that you have done. The other thing too is, especially as I talked about those little shopping moments, right? Is I sit there too and I have the conversation with myself of no, like these are the moments that you wanted to budget for in your trip, right? I'm not a huge luxury spender personally. Every once in a while I'll buy a piece here or there, but these are the other little moments that I love to have, and I'm not a huge shopper when it comes to these things. And so every once in a while I will have that moment, even too when I bought that bowl in Morocco. I had that moment of like, oh my goodness, you could just go buy this at Home Goods. And then I come back to my values and my morals. And to me, I love to support local artisans and local vendors and have these pieces. And for me, it's so important. I want to build a life and have a home filled with local pieces and moments from all these different trips and these experiences. To me, that's beautiful. And that's so much more meaningful than, don't get me wrong, I love Home Goods, but to me, this is so much more meaningful. And also to be able to support and have these memories and stories is incredible. And I had financially budgeted and prepared for this moment. And so I had that hesitation going to put my card down and said, nope, no, this is exactly what this was for. And I did it and it felt so good. And then to bring it home and to be able to share that with my friends and family, and they were like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Like, how cool is that? And to see their excitement in return was all worth it. The other thing I encourage you to do as you are financially preparing for a trip, factor this into your financial plan. If you are somebody, and I have this conversation a lot with prospective clients when we are first building out their financial plan, is that I get an understanding of where are some of their biggest purchases, especially reoccurring moments like this throughout the year. Some people say, you know what, I spend an exorbitant amount on travel every year. And so, number one, I try to understand what that means because it's so different for everybody. Or other people have those golden moments, right? Do you plan to take a big trip for an anniversary or a birthday or at retirement? You can factor these into your financial plan. So then that way too, if you have those moments come up thinking, oh my goodness, I should have invested this, I should have saved it, you can have that moment in your mind saying, nope, this was part of the plan. This was a part of the plan all along. And what's great too is when we're building financial plans for people, they have that visual and they can see, yep, this is exactly where that puzzle piece fits in. And so they understand and go, this was what the money was meant to do all along. And so I always, encourage people to make this part of their plan rather than, it's so easy, especially now as we are in those summer months. You see it on Instagram, everyone's away, everyone's having their European summer to just like, oh, screw it, I'm booking that last minute ticket. Plan ahead. If you are having these feelings now, can you plan ahead for next summer and say, hey, the family and I want to go away, or you know what, we want to take a trip in 5 years to celebrate the kids graduating high school, college, whatever it might be. I also encourage you to take some time as well to plan for kind of the afterwards of coming back home, especially if you are somebody, if you are going to get those credit card statements in the mail, just know and have that mental conversation with yourself of, okay, this was exactly what we had planned for, keeping in mind the amount you intended to spend, and then take a look at your finances and say, okay, we're going to get this money. We're going to get this credit card statement in the mail. We plan to spend this much and do an audit too. As you get this statement in the mail, did you overspend on your trip? Are you somebody who, and there's no wrong or right in this, but you need to understand what type of person are you on vacation? Some people, a lot of people, this is too, right? Especially depending on where you go on vacation, you get so excited, right? And it's like, oh my goodness, we're on vacation. We want to drink. We want the meals. We want this. We want that. And that credit card just starts ringing itself. So understand what type of spender are you? I also encourage people to as well, as you get credit card statements back from any of your vacations, where do you spend the most when you go on vacation? For me, I've come to realize it is food. And I have shared this pretty openly. You can go back and watch my coffee conversation with the incredible Alexa Moore, who is a travel content creator, and that is live here on the Wealth Cafe YouTube channel. And she and I had a conversation all about food and how that is a big part of our budgets when we travel, is because that's what's important to us. Be clear and understand too from your spending when you travel, what's important to you. That way you can factor this in as you are planning for future travel. I also encourage you to, what I like to do at the end of every trip, you're calm, you're relaxed, and you're inspired, and you kind of have this clear vision of what trips do you want next. This way you can work with your financial team too and say, hey, we're thinking about doing a trip with the family to Saint Tropez, to France, to, I've done the safari down in Africa. A lot of people have these big, bucket list trips on their radar. Get clear, write those down. If it's a notes app in your phone or a piece of paper, write those moments down. So then that way you can do a quick research and see, okay, or, work with a travel agent, whatever it might be, and say, hey, okay, here's what this is going to cost us. Here's ideally when we would like to go. So it can be built into your financial plan. Then that way you are ready for it to help relieve any stress and anxiety. The money is meant to work for you and to have these beautiful moments, and as I mentioned before, and to kind of round out this conversation, is when planning financially for vacations, understand what type of traveler you are, where you like to spend your money, plan and prepare for these moments. And that is going to help relieve so much of this anxiety if you have any when it comes to travel. I know some people are like, forget it, I'm young, this is what's meant to happen. But it's all about having that balance, right? Knowing that you are saving and investing and enjoying the money now. Having both of these components is so important, and working with your financial team to have that balance built in there and to know this is all part of the plan and what your money is working for. I hope this was helpful. And like I said, make sure you check out my conversation with Alexa Moore, Little Miss Awkward, as that is up on the Wealth Cafe channel. It's a coffee conversation under that playlist. And she and I talk all about different travel and what we love to do and different little travel tips in there. So make sure you check it out. And I will see you next time on the Wealth Cafe.